My name is Chris Hillary. I'm the president here at Aerotech Golf and actually the lead shaft designer. And I'd like to talk a little bit more about the SteelFiber shaft and the technology behind it and what really makes it unique and different than any other steel shaft or graphite shaft that's ever been produced. The SteelFiber golf shaft is produced with, using a graphite core. We make a graphite core and then we apply a full surface layer of steel fiber on the surface of each shaft. And we end up with over 59 miles of steel fiber on the surface of each shaft. The steel fiber material is very unique. We have it made exclusively for Aerotech. We purchased it from a company out of Belgium. And the way they make this material is they take stainless steel wire and they draw it down as thin as they possibly can. Then they bundle 1,000 of those wires together and wrap them in an iron tube, and they draw the iron tube down again. And they do this several times until they end up with a steel fiber material that's 1/10 the diameter of a human hair. It's 8 microns in diameter. We then take 3,000 of those individual steel filaments or hairs, and they're wound onto a spool, and then this is then applied to the surface of each golf shaft. And this really gives the shaft some unique characteristics that no other shaft on the market has. When I first set out to create the steel fiber iron shaft, I really wanted to create an iron shaft that strong players could embrace, good players could play and accept. And to do that, I knew that I needed to create shafts at varying weights, heavier weighted shafts for the better players, because they've been playing full weight steel all their lives, and putting something light in their hands was just not comfortable. So when you're creating a heavier weighted all graphite shaft, you have to add a lot of graphite to it because graphite's so light. But by applying this steel fiber to the surface, and the steel fiber is 5 times the density of graphite, it's 5 times heavier than graphite. So that allows us to manipulate the weight, to raise the weight with 1/5 the amount of material that we would have had to use if we used all graphite. So this keeps the wall thickness down and maintains the playability of the shaft. When you get a real thick wall in a graphite shaft, it starts to lose its playability because it gets a boardy feel, and you start to lose the load characteristics of the shaft. When you manufacture a carbon fiber or graphite composite shaft, you run fiber at different orientations down the shaft to give it its different stiffness properties. So you run carbon fiber directly down the shaft along its longitudinal axis to give it its bending stiffness, and you run that fiber at 45-degree angles to give it its torsional or twisting stiffness. So you vary those fiber angles along the length of the shaft to achieve different flexural profiles and different playing characteristics. We then apply the steel fiber in what's known as a hoop orientation, or it's run around the shaft, basically 90 degrees to the longitudinal axis of the shaft. This gives the shaft hoop strength. So I like to think of it as if you had a garden hose and you were to bend that garden hose, it wants to flatten out or ovalize in its peak deflection. And a thinner wall golf shaft will do the same thing. But by applying the steel fiber in the hoop orientation, it holds the shaft round and keeps it from deforming during load and at impact in the golf swing, making it more stable. Another thing that the steel fiber does that's very unique to this product is it perimeter weights the golf shaft. We've increased the moment of inertia of the golf shaft by putting the steel fiber all the way out on the surface. We've increased the rotational MOI of the shaft. So I like to think of it as if you look down the golf shaft, directly down the golf shaft, and you see the round profile. Think of that round profile as a wheel with spokes that have weights that move in and out on those spokes. If you take those weights and you move them all the way to the center of the wheel's really easy to spin. If you take those weights and you move them all the way out to the surface, that wheel gets much more difficult to spin. So by putting the steel fiber on the surface of the shaft, we've actually created a shaft that's resisting twisting at impact, and it actually delivers more energy to the ball at impact and improves performance on off-center hits. So we've created basically the world's first perimeter weighted golf shaft.